2 Kings 17. King Hosea of Israel. Hosea, son of Elah, became king of Israel in the 12th year of Ahaz's rule in Judah, and he ruled 9 years from Samaria. Hosea disobeyed the Lord and sinned, but not as much as the earlier Israelite kings had done. During Hosea's rule, King Shalmaneser of Assyria invaded Israel. He took control of the country and made Hosea pay taxes. But later, Hosea refused to pay the taxes and asked King Saul of Egypt to help him rebel. When Shalmaneser found out, he arrested Hosea and put him in prison. Samaria is destroyed and the Israelites are taken to Assyria. Shalmaneser invaded Israel and attacked the city of Samaria for 3 years, before capturing it in the 9th year of Hosea's rule. The Assyrian king took the Israelites away to Assyria as prisoners. He forced some of them to live in the town of Hala, others to live near the Harbor River in the territory of Gozan, and still others to live in towns where the Median people lived. All of this happened because the people of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, who had rescued them from Egypt, where they had been slaves. They worshipped the fallen gods, followed the customs of nations that the Lord had forced out of Israel, and were just as sinful as the Israelite kings. Even worse, the Israelites tried to hide their sins from the Lord their God. They built their own local shrines everywhere in Israel, from small towns to large walled cities. They also built stone images of foreign gods and set up sacred poles for the worship of Asherah on every hill and under every shady tree. They offered sacrifices at the shrines, just as the foreign nations had done before the Lord forced them out of Israel. They did sinful things that made the Lord very angry. Even though the Lord had commanded the Israelites not to worship idols, they did it anyway. So the Lord made sure that every prophet warned Israel and Judah with these words: I, the Lord, command you to stop doing sinful things and start obeying my laws and teachings. I gave them to your ancestors, and I told my servant the prophets to repeat them to you. But the Israelites would not listen. They were as stubborn as their ancestors, who had refused to worship the Lord their God. They ignored the Lord's warnings and commands, and they rejected the solemn agreement he had made with their ancestors. They worshipped worthless idols and became worthless themselves. although the Lord had told the Israelites not to do the things that the foreign nations around them were doing. But Israel became just like them. The people of Israel obeyed all the commands of the Lord their God. They made 2 gold statues of carvers and set up a sacred pole for Asherah. They also worshipped the stars and the god Baal. They used magic and witchcraft and even sacrifices their own children. The Israelites were determined to do whatever the Lord hated. The Lord became so furious with the people of Israel that he allowed them to be carried away as prisoners. Only the people living in Judah were left, but they also disobeyed the Lord's commands and acted like the Israelites. So the Lord turned his back on everyone in Israel and let them be punished and defeated until no one was left. Earlier, when the Lord took the northern tribes away from David's family, the people living in the northern Israel chose Jeroboam, sons of Nebat, as their king. Jeroboam caused the Israelites to sin to stop worshiping the Lord. The people kept on sinning like Jeroboam until the Lord got rid of them, just as he had warned his servant the prophet. That's why the people of Israel were taken away as prisoners to Assyria, and that's where they remained. Foreigners are resettled in Israel. The king of Assyria took people who were living in the cities of Baalan, Koda, Ava, Hamath, and Sepharvaim, and forced them to move to Israel. They took over the towns where the Israelites had lived, including the capital city of Samaria. At first, these people did not worship the Lord, so he sent lions to attack them, and the lion killed some of them. A messenger told the king of Assyria, "The people you moved to Israel don't know how to worship the God of that country." So he sent lions that have attacked and killed some of them. The king replied, "Get one of the Israelite priests we brought here and send him back to Israel. He can live there and teach them about the God of that country." One of the Israelite priests was chosen to go back to the Israel. He lived in Bethel and taught the people how to worship the Lord. But in towns all over Israel, the different groups of people made statues of their own gods. Then they placed these idols in local Israelite shrines. The people from Babylonia made the god Scott Benath. Those from Koda made the god Nergal. Those from Hamas made Ashima. Those from Ava made Nibhaz and Tartak. And the people from Sepharvaim sacrifices their children to their own gods, Adarmelech and Anamelech. They worship their own gods just as they had before they were taken away to Israel. They also worship the Lord, but they chose their own people to be priests at the shrines. Everyone followed their old customs. One of them worshipped only the Lord, and they refused to obey the laws and commands that the Lord had given to the descendant of Jacob, the man he named Israel. At the time when the Lord had made his solemn agreement with the people of Israel, he told them to not worship any other gods, do not bow down to them or offer them a sacrifice. Worship only me. I am the one who rescued you from Egypt with my mighty power. Bow down to me and offer sacrifices. Never worship with any other God. Always obey my laws and teachings and remember the solemn agreement between us. I will say it again. Do you worship any God except me? I am the Lord your God, and I will rescue you from all your enemies. But the people living in Israel ignored that command and kept on following their own customs. They did worship the Lord, but they also worshiped their own idols. Their descendants did the same thing.
2 Kings 18. King Hezekiah of Judah. Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, became king of Judah in the 3rd year of Hosea's rule in Israel. Hezekiah was 25 years old when he became king, and he ruled 29 years from Jerusalem. His mother, Abi, was the daughter of Zechariah. Hezekiah obeyed the Lord just as his ancestor David had done. He destroyed the local shrines, then tore down the images of foreign gods and cut down the sacred pole for worshipping the goddess Asherah. He also smashed the bronze snake Moses had made. The people had named it Nehushtan and had been offering sacrifices to it. Hezekiah trusted the Lord God of Israel. No other king of Judah was like Hezekiah, either before or after him. He was completely faithful to the Lord and obeyed the laws the Lord had given to Moses for the people. The Lord helped Hezekiah, so he was successful in everything he did. He even rebelled against the king of Assyria, refusing to be his servant. Hezekiah defeated the Palestine towns as far away as Gaza, from the smallest town to the large walled cities. During the 4th year of Hezekiah's rule, which was the 7th year of Hosea's rule in Israel, King Shalmaneser of Syria led his troops to Samaria, the capital city of Israel. They attacked and captured it 3 years later. In the 6th year of Hezekiah's rule and the 9th year of Hosea's rule, the king of Assyria took the Israelites away as prisoners. He forced some of them to live in the town of Halah, others to live near the Hobar River in the territory of Gozan, and still others to live in towns where the Median people lived. All that happened because the people of Israel had not obeyed the Lord their God. They rejected the solemn agreement he had made with them, and they ignored everything that the Lord's servant Moses had told them. King Sennacherib of Assyria invaded Judah in the 14th year of Hezekiah's rule in Judah. King Sennacherib of Assyria invaded the country and captured every walled city except Jerusalem. Hezekiah sent this message to Sennacherib, who was in the town of Lachish. I know I am guilty of rebellion, but I will pay you whatever you want if you stop your attack. Sennacherib told Hezekiah to pay 10 tons of silver and 1 ton of gold. So Hezekiah collected all the silver from the Lord's temple and the royal treasury. He even stripped the gold that he had used to cover the doors and doorposts in the temple. He gave it all to Sennacherib. The king of Assyria ordered his 3 highest military officers to leave Lachish and take a large army to Jerusalem. When they arrived, the officers stood on the road near the cloth makers' shops along the canal from the upper pool. They called out Hezekiah, and 3 of his highest officers came out to meet them. One of them was Hilkiah's son Eliakim, who was the prime minister. The other 2 were Shebna, against the prime minister, and Joash, son of Ashap, keeper of the government records. One of the Assyrian commanders told them, I have a message for Hezekiah from the great king of Assyria. Ask Hezekiah why he feels so sure of himself. Does he think he can plan and win a war with nothing but words? Who is going to help him now that he has turned against the king of Assyria? Is he depending on Egypt and its king? That's the same as leaning on the broken stick, and it'll go right through his hand. He Hezekiah, now depending on the Lord your God. Didn't Hezekiah tear down or accept one of the Lord's altars and places of worship? Didn't he tell the people of Jerusalem and Judah to worship at that one place? The king of Assyria wants to make a bet with you people. He will give you 2,000 horses if you have enough troops to ride them. How could you even defeat our lowest ranking officer when you have to depend on Egypt for chariot and cavalry? Don't forget that it was the Lord who sent me here with others to destroy your nation. Eliakim, Sebna, and Joah said, Sir, we don't want the people listening from the city wall to understand what you're saying. So please speak to us in Aramaic instead of Hebrew. The Assyrian army commander answered, My king sent me to speak to everyone, not just to you, readers. These people will soon have to eat their own body waste and drink their own urine. And so will the three of you. Then, in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear, he shouted in Hebrew, Listen to what the great king of Assyria says. Don't be fooled by Hezekiah. He can't save you. Don't trust him when he tells you that the Lord will protect you from the king of Assyria. Stop listening to Hezekiah. Pay attention to my king. Surrender to him. He will let you keep your own vineyards, fig trees, and cisterns for a while. Then he will come and take you away to a country just like yours, where you can plant vineyards, raise your own grain, and have plenty of oil, olive oil, and honey. Believe me, you want to starve there. Hezekiah claims the Lord will save you, but don't be fooled by him. Were any other gods able to defend their land against the king of Assyria? What happened to the gods of Hamath and Arpad? What about the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena and Eva? Ever the gods of Samaria able to protect their land against the Assyrian forces? None of these gods kept their people safe from the king of Assyria. Do you think the Lord your God can do any better? Eliakim, Sebna, and Joash had been warned by King Hezekiah not to answer the Assyrian commander. So they tore their clothes then in sorrow and reported to Hezekiah everything the commander had said.